Hello, hello. Okay, and I'm not on Instagram, but that's how it goes because I can't be in two places at once. Apparently, I haven't figured out how to do that. I could try it here. Maybe I'll try one more thing. Anyway, hope you all are doing well. It's kind of a cool evening here in Maine. It's interesting how sometimes it's really hot and rainy, and sometimes it's like perfect weather, which I feel like today is one of those perfect weather days. Anyway, okay. You just see something here. If I can, no, I can't do that. Okay, we're just gonna forget the computer. I'll just leave it here on my phone. So I wanted to do a meditation this evening about clearing shadows and clearing shadows from within and to allow light to fully come in and integrate in our bodies and light bodies. Let me bring this a little bit closer. All right, there we go. So the reason I wanted to do this is because some of you may be familiar with the between the summer solstice and the 8/8, which is known as the Lion's Gate. There's this time period that everybody talks about every year where it's like called the Lion's Gate portal, where we're getting lots of light that's coming in to our bodies and receiving lots of light. And especially now with all that, it's 2023. Every year it just keeps intensifying as we move through this awakening process. And we're being asked to really remember who we are as these divine beings in human bodies. And I wrote an email about that today because I think, I tend to, sometimes, myself included, we tend to not totally see that, right? We're like, well, I still got stuff going on in my life. I still got to pay these bills. I still have to go deal with this situation and that situation. It feels very 3D, like very sort of not love and light. But when we remember that, we still do live in a 3D world on a very grounded planet of Earth, because this is a place, Earth is one of the most difficult schools places we can incarnate in. It's a very powerful school where there's been a lot of separation for thousands of years. And I think it's important for us to try to remember what it used to be like for people. There are very dark times on this planet of just incredible fear and persecution, the Salem witch trials, the Crusades, just the time of colonization and all that was done to different people around the world. The Black Plague around the time of Jesus, very dark times, lots of fear, and people were quite awful to each other. And that's been going on for a long time. And even our own grandparents and great-grandparents, a lot of us are aware of all kinds of dysfunctional things that have been passed along in our families: alcoholism, depression, abuse, just suffering, really. And that's because, people on Earth have been asleep for thousands of years. And that changed when, the Mayan calendar restarted in 2012. And we didn't really feel it right then because we were just babies in this new age of awakening, this new age of Aquarius. But we're starting to feel it more and more now. And of course, the past few years of COVID times served as one of the most massive times of awakening ever, because people had to see the programming. They had to see how we were fear, and we were being manipulated by fear to create control, which has been done for thousands of years. This is nothing new, but it had to be so stark for people to start to wake up. So as much as it was really not fun in many ways, it was also planned. Yes, it was in the Akashic Records as a way for humanity to awaken through this global sort of event that would shock people out of their system so they could see what was really happening beneath the surface, which is systems of control, people, systems in control who think they're in control, using fear to manipulate people in one of the most incredible ways that we've ever seen, right? Anyway, so that's, sparked this awakening, and more people are awakening. And, I think what's important here, the point I'm trying to make is we don't always see it. We think like, okay, yes, I'm awakening. There's light, blah, blah, blah. That's great. But why do I still have to deal with all this crap? It doesn't feel great. It feels hard a lot of the time. And that is because we have lots of programming to clear from this lifetime. This goes down the ancestral bloodline, right? Of things that we were told when we were children, things that we were taught by our parents, who were taught that by their parents. And yes, maybe they did as well, as good of a job as they could, but a lot of it was, they just didn't know, right? These were generations of people who were suffering, who were numbing themselves from the pain of their existence, really, which may have seemed meaningless in some way to them, but they didn't realize, right? But at some level, they probably did realize anyway. And now we're breaking those patterns. We're making different choices. We're not going to continue this addiction issue, or this abuse, or this sort of codependency, or this victim mentality, or this, whatever it is. It gets, depression, or, cycles. We're starting to break those, but it's difficult to do that. Nobody said this was easy. This is not easy stuff. Sometimes it is. Sometimes we go through this beautiful time of flow, and we feel like we love everything. We love everyone. We're feeling connected with the earth, connected with all that is. But then the next day, it just feels really, really hard. And that's why we're seeing some people exit their bodies early. They're breaking their soul contracts by ending their lives early. Unfortunately, that's, maybe they took on a little more than they could handle in this life. It's not the answer, right? That's not going to help us get anywhere. It's going to set us backwards. But of course, that's not always clear for some people to see when they're in deep pain and suffering. But, I think if we can, and that's why, what I talk about to you guys and and a lot of other people try to teach, if we can quiet our minds, bring in light, connecting with divine source energy, whatever that means to us, we start to see why, why am I going through this? We don't always understand why we're going through some experience, but when we come out into that bird's eye view, get that higher perspective, we start to have a deeper sense of understanding that I may not know why I'm going through this hard time, but I know there's a reason that I'm learning something from this. And that is why that's why we're incarnated, because we're working on a lesson. I just did a life between life regression today for somebody. Super powerful, amazing experience. It's fascinating for me to listen to people, what they pick up on. And that was coming up for her, just what were the lessons she was working on in this life. And it was based on a past life, something that had happened to her. And there was just one past life that we picked up on, but it repeats in different past lives. And so this is the life when she shows similar circumstances with similar parents and similar sort of things coming up in her life, to start to make a different choice and learn a different lesson. And those lessons can be around self-love, unconditional self-love. And how do we learn self-love? We may experience a time when we didn't love ourselves. Or, how do we learn forgiveness? We experience something that's so awful that needs to be forgiven. Or how do we learn about forgiveness? I should say, how do we learn about healthy boundaries? Well, we experience things where we didn't have healthy boundaries, and then we go back and learn how to build them. And so that's often when we look at our lives and we can see, oh yeah, that's makes sense to me now. Then we start to grow, and we start to see that all these experiences were part of our learning, and that we chose them at a higher level. The law of amnesia, we don't remember the soul contracts we create with the council of elders, with in the room of life selection before, we're in this, when we're in the spirit realm. And this is what, happens in life between life regression. We pick up on this stuff. Anyway, so if you're struggling right now and having, feeling like, just frustrated or confused or negative, there's probably an old pattern or habit or belief or thought system that is coming up. And often it's through relationships with other people that we start to see these things, right? It's coming up now because you're being asked to work on it at a deeper level this time. And so maybe you're like, well, why is this coming up again? I thought I already cleared this. But often what happens is, as we go through life, we learn more and more tools, and we develop this greater ability to cope with circumstances and to move through them as our adult higher selves. We can comfort our wounded inner child a little more because we have that wisdom and we have that love, or we know about how to quiet our minds and we're practicing meditation, which can help us move through things, or we have a spiritual practice that we didn't have when we were younger that will help us, give us hope and carry us through. So when we experience these things again, it's because we're really just often working on that lesson, and we're getting close to the end, right? We're getting to the advanced levels. And when it gets to be the advanced levels of a lesson, it gets harder, and it can be, it can feel harder in some ways, but the good news is that we move through it more quickly. I've certainly experienced that myself. So I wanted to do a meditation this evening on how we can just begin to notice and clear the shadows, the darkness in the form of, old stuck patterns and habits and thoughts and things like that, that are low vibrational, that are not who we are, that are not where we're going, and to clear them away. There is an exercise that I often give to clients. I call it the hidden stories. And it's in my book, if any of you have it. It's Tools for the Awakening Soul book. I have a bunch of them in there. Anyway, so but this is a writing exercise where we kind of focus on like an issue in your life that you want to clear, or that keeps coming up over and over. Maybe it's a relationship with somebody that you find really challenging, or maybe it's a pattern in relationships that it keeps coming up that you don't like, or maybe it's a health thing, a persistent health thing, or maybe just self-doubt, lacking confidence. Maybe it's fear around money lack. Could be anything, right? It could be a lot of things that just, it could be a theme. Like this is the theme that comes up for you. There could be a few things, but think of one. And then you start to, in this writing reflection, and you can think about it now, is like, well, when, what does that feel like to me? How is that showing up in my life? What might that be connected to? And it almost always, it starts with childhood, then you can go back to past lives, but this is just going back to this current life. What did I hear, experience, or see in my childhood? Usually it's the imprint years between the ages of 5 and 10, when whatever happens, whatever we're told, especially by a respected adult, often a parent, gets imprinted in our subconscious mind as a story. And we start to reflect on, well, what was that, during my childhood years? What happened during my adolescent years? What happened during my early adulthood? And sometimes there's patterns, like there's similar sorts of situations that the ego will use against us. See, remember that happened that time, and that happened again that time. That's why this old limiting belief is true. That's why you need to cling on to it, because it keeps happening, when actually what we're doing is we're drawing these negative experiences to us because of that limiting belief. Hopefully you're with me on that. It's like that's sort of the law of attraction, and not a good way that we don't want. Or another way to look at it is we haven't learned that lesson yet, so we continue to go through these negative experiences, so we can, because we're like, I didn't quite get it that time, so I need to go through this sort of situation again to try to work on it again. So anyway, we reflect on that, and what happened? What did somebody say? What did they do? And how did that affect me? And usually we can think of it, like, could be a teacher saying something really hurtful, or a parent we heard them say something, or it could have been something a parent said or did, or something we witnessed. And we think about, well, how did that affect me? How is it continuing to affect me? And how is it holding me back from who I really want to become? And that's where, I love to do this future self vision thing, which a lot of you probably know about doing. It's positive present tense. How do you want to feel? How do you want to be? Creating that future self vision is super important. Super, super important, because it's like where we're going. Even if we don't know what it is, we know usually how we want to feel. And that creates that positive vibration. So often it's like, well, what is that vision? And how are these beliefs holding me back from that? And usually it's connected to the protective ego. It's always connected to the protective ego that comes up with ways to try to keep us safe, to hold us back, keep us in our comfort zone, right? It's also connected to the inner child, which is scared often, that little girl, little boy part of us, and we want to comfort her, him, and bring them along board. And there's other ways to do that. But for the purposes of this, we're connecting with that story. And in that exercise I just mentioned, the hidden stories, at the end, you start to write a goodbye letter, a pretend letter. You don't actually give it to them, to a person. You can do this for multiple people that helped create that limiting belief, that old story. And you just say, this is why I'm, when you said this, you did this is how it affected me. Maybe you were trying to do the best you could, and I thank you for that. That feels right. But this is how it hurt me at the time. This is how it's continued to hurt me. And this is why I want to separate from it, because I want to have this beautiful vision that I want to bring into reality. And then you just kind of say, I'm separating from this. And you're not separating from the person, you're separating from the belief. So that's what we're going to do in the meditation, is kind of amplify that energetic separation. So take a moment now, before we even begin, to think about, you probably already know it, right? Somewhere there, to think about an area that is feeling like a stuck area for you, and just focus on that. And we're going to do some work around that. Okay, so let's do the meditation. So you can close your eyes and begin to take a few deep breaths in and slow exhales out. Breathing in lots of air, holding at the top of the inhale, and then slowly, slowly exhaling out. Take one last deep, full inhale. Breathe into the belly. Breathe in a lot of air up into the lungs and collarbone and heart. Take in a little bit more, and then slowly, slowly exhale. Let the belly sink into the spine. Let the shoulders drop. And now just breathe naturally. And all we're doing now is just noticing what's happening in our bodies as we allow our breath to be breathed as if it's breathing itself. Just becoming the observer of the natural flow of air moving into our bodies, expanding our abdomens. And then it flows out just so effortlessly, so smoothly out through our nose and mouth. And then the air flows back in. It's just continuous cycle. And with all the change around us in our lives, it can be very soothing to ground into something predictable. It's always there for us. So just allowing as much as you can the thoughts to be just erased from your mind, like a bunch of the thoughts are written on a chalkboard all jumbled up. Just imagine a giant eraser coming in and erasing all of those thoughts. It's just moving back and forth, erasing them, wiping them away until you have a nice, clean chalkboard or whiteboard of your mind, open and expansive, like the sky on a clear day, ready to receive. And at this time, I'd like you to connect in with your heart, breathing into your heart space, imagining that you're generating light in there as if every breath in, you're fanning the flame that lies within your heart, the seat of your soul. And that flame gets bigger and bigger and becomes like a glowing ball of light. With every breath in, bigger and bigger. And with every breath out, that light begins to flow through your body, just spreading through every cell, every muscle, through your bloodstream, circulating around, spilling out your hands and feet. Feeling the light from the highest source in the universe, the source of creator, of God, connecting in with your inner light, because you are a piece of that source. And you can even go a little deeper and invite in any divine guide, angel, ascended master, deceased loved one, ancestor, multidimensional being, any source, more specific source of unconditional love and understanding and compassion. Just invite them in to be with you, to support you in this experience. I'm choosing Archangel Michael and Mother Mary, who came in. The Archangel Michael is very powerful at clearing away fear and low vibrational energies, and Mother Mary's very gentle, loving, healing vibration. And you can choose any you like. And so I'd like you to, with the support you have around you, to bring your attention to the issue that you feel represents a stuck area for you. It's an old habit that keeps coming back, a thought pattern that is like a bad song getting stuck in your head. Maybe it's a belief system that you know is old and you may be very deeply embedded in the subconscious mind. Even though you've tried clearing it, it still might be there. A fear, a doubt, a self-defeating thought, a worry, anything that's sort of a pattern. Just bring that up to your awareness. Take it out like you could reach within your body and pull it out from its hiding place and just take it out and look at it for a moment. And even notice, where in your body did you get it from? Is it in your heart or in your solar plexus, which is right above your belly button? Is it in your throat? Or maybe somewhere else? Just go in, reach that, pull it out, and just look at it for a moment. Maybe it's too big to hold, or maybe it's can fit in your hand. Just imagine there's an image associated with this stuckness. And if the image isn't coming to you yet, maybe you can at least pick up on the temperature. Is it hot or cold? Does it seem to be moving where it was, or is it just in one place? Does it have a color? Is it soft or hard, spiky, or kind of amorphous? Does it have a shape, a vibration, a texture? And maybe there's even a word that's associated with this stuck area. Just imagine the word is forming in your mind and you're writing it on this thing, spelling it out letter by letter. What is the word that represents this stuckness? Maybe there's a few. And if it could speak to you, what might it say? It's probably not something very nice. What does it say? Give it a voice. You're just listening to it. You're not doing anything but just seeing it for a moment, experiencing it, calling it out from the shadows. We can't treat what we can't see. And so you hear at some level, hopefully, its message, and you're aware of its word. And maybe you realize that this vibrational story has been living inside your body and your consciousness for some time. And maybe ask yourself, am I ready to remove this? Maybe you're ready to remove all of it, like scooping it out with some sort of magical tool that gets every part of it. Or maybe you just want to focus on one area for now and then come back and get the rest out later. Just get it out of your body somehow. Scoop it out, suck it out, allow it to be drained, completely cleansed, rinsed, removed in whatever way feels right. It's beginning to leave your body. Maybe it sucks right out, it's easily removed, or maybe it takes a little longer. Maybe there's some sticky areas that hang on. Just take a moment and allow it to be removed, released, cleared, drawn out, taken out of your body in some way, whatever way feels right. And you may notice there might be other parts of your body that have residue from this low vibrational energy, and allow those residues also to be removed. any places this thing has stuck onto. And when you're removing this at every level of your mind, body, spirit, and soul, trust it's being removed from this lifetime and all other lifetimes on this planet and all other planets as well. And this is with your intention, with your permission and your free will, which is important, and with the help of divine love. Angels, maybe you've got some multi-dimensional beings. I've got some Pleiadians helping me clear this right now with all their psychic tools, psychic energy clearing, psychic surgery, that's the word. And when you feel this energy has been cleared, been removed, been wiped away clean from every crevasse, nook and cranny of your body, I'd like you to imagine light flowing in, replacing, filling up that gap, that hole, that emptiness where the story was living, filling your body with light. Maybe it's a certain color or rainbow colors. Allow your cup to be filled, allowing every cell, every membrane, every atom of your body to soak up like a sponge this beautiful light, deeply absorbing it, especially in the area where you scraped it out of, where you pulled it out of. And as this light is being poured in, maybe you notice there's a word associated with this light. Just writing that word, imagining it being spelled out. Maybe it's love, maybe it's confidence, maybe it's joy, or something else. Maybe there's even a mantra to go along with this. I am enough. I am loved. I am whole. And feel yourself absorbing this light so much that it just begins to spill out of you, spilling out through every pore, out through your hands and feet, almost like bursting forth until you're taking up so much space, moving out into the outer layers of your light body, out and taking up your rightful spot, moving into your fullest expression of who you are as a being of light. You can even physically take your arms and spread them out on either side of you, just receiving and expanding out into the space around you. Deep breath in and out. Bring your arms back if you like. And just feeling this light encircling you like a nice warm hug. You can even physically hug yourself. Just touching yourself on either arm, rubbing your arms. This is called havening. Just touching the top of your head, your shoulders, any part of your body that you want to touch to just seal in this new light, this new vibration. Putting your hands in the area where this stuckness came out of. Or you could just put your one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And just feel the light pulsating through your body, this beautiful high vibrational energy. This is who you are. That which you released was not who you are. It didn't belong. It wasn't yours. And you are safe to let go of that. And you are brave to have released it. And now you are protected as you move forward into becoming your highest and best, most ideal future self. This is your birthright. This is your destiny. Step by step, with trust, with surrender, and with unconditional self-love, you move toward self-actualization, learning, growing, being of service for others in your process of healing. And anytime those low vibrational stuck patterns or energies or vibrations come back, if they float back in, just bringing in your light to push them out, just like you're the sun. And anything that is not of pure love burns off as it gets close to you. Your radiance is luminous. Your light is more powerful than any of those low vibrational things. I am whole. I am enough. I am loved. Let's just repeat that silently or out loud 3 times together. I am whole. I am enough. I am loved. I am whole. I am enough. I am loved. I am whole. I am enough, more than enough. I am loved, and I am love. Let's bring your hands now to your heart center if you like, or folding them over your heart. Just taking a moment to give thanks, honoring yourself, honoring your divine support team who's been here, your higher self. Just giving thanks for this experience. May we continue to flow forward towards that which we really are, our highest and best selves, leaving behind that which serves no purpose any longer. And for this, we give much thanks and gratitude. May it be so, and so it is. You can stretch out now, coming back into your body. And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. I almost sneezed at the end there, but somehow I managed to not sneeze. So that was a little longer than normal, but I really wanted to give us a chance to do some clearing. You could never go wrong with light, right? Light is always just, that's who we are, right? That's where we come from. And so when we bring in that light, we activate who we are, and it just clears away all that other stuff. So if you feel that, you could use that again, go ahead. I'll put this up in my podcast, which is called The Courageous Path, on SoundCloud and iTunes, and you can listen to it again. And that meditation, that writing reflection, the hidden stories, it might actually be on my website as a free download. I can't remember. I think it might be. It's in my book. Very powerful. I give it to clients all the time. So I encourage you to do that. And yeah, I hope it was helpful for you. One thing that let me see. What do I want to tell you now? I'll tell you a few things that are coming up. Tomorrow evening, I'm doing tomorrow during the day, I'm doing a talk with my friend Cheryl. You're welcome. And we're going to be talking about the power of angels, and that's at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, just for a half hour. And our experience with angels, as you know, I brought in Archangel Michael for this. Just angels help clear out so much of this low vibrational stuff. And so Cheryl and I are going to be talking a little bit about how we've worked with angels in our lives. And it's just really, really wonderful and special when you work with that energy. It's very powerful, high vibrational energy, directly connected to source. And then we'll be talking about this class I'm offering called How to Communicate with Angels, which some of you may have heard me mentioning, starting the end of September. It's a live online class where I'll teach you how to raise your vibration, open your third eye, learning more about angels and specific archangels and your guardian angel and how to tune into them. We'll do meditations to meet them, to actually see them, get some of their, the names of those who are with you. You'll learn more about how to activate your intuition to really align with the vibration of the angelic realm, which is a much higher vibration than ours. How to clear away ego, fear and doubt. You learn about also connecting with spirit guides and ascended masters, which are different. They're in a different realm, different dimensional space. And the Akashic Records, that'll just be like, I teach a full class on that. We'll cover that as well. So hopefully some of you will check that class out. It's a 6-week class every other week, and it's for 2 hours live. And there's all kinds of tools and stuff I'll give you in the process. And it's just a really fun, powerful, healing, just expansive way to really connect in with these powerful healing energies. And then also tomorrow evening is the Lightworkers Hangout and Meditation, which is a New Earth Collective gathering, this monthly group that I've made, some of you are in. And we meet twice a month. And this gathering that we're doing is just a way for people to, share what they're experiencing. It's very informal. We're just kind of chatting, and, it's around, consciousness and awakening and things like that. And it's just a kind of time to talk with like-minded people who get it, who are like you, so we don't feel so alone. So we feel like we get some support. And then I usually bring in and pull an oracle card for us, or read a channeled message, and then do a short little meditation at the end. So if you want to join us, you can join the New Earth Collective, which is, $20 a month. I keep it pretty affordable. Canceling anytime is always an option. Or you can just drop in, and that is $30 to just drop in. So, all right. Options if you want to go a little deeper. So thank you for being here. Sorry it went so long. I can't believe I talked for as long as I did. Anyway, but hopefully it was helpful in some way. Sending you all many blessings. Much love. Bye.